Welcome once again to Lehto's Law. Here's Steve Lehto.
Ponzi schemes are remarkably easy to run, apparently. Just watch American Greed. It's a documentary series, and many of those scams involve Ponzi schemes. Well, Donald sent me a note, said, Steve, just see this story, and I actually had. So I went and dug up a couple different versions of it. I like the one on the BBC. Zach Avery, a Hollywood actor, arrested over a $690 million scheme. It's a Ponzi scheme. An aspiring Hollywood actor has been accused of scamming millions from film investors by tricking them with fake Netflix deals to fund a lavish lifestyle. Zachary Horowitz, 34 years old, was arrested on Tuesday by FBI agents on suspicion of running a $690 million Ponzi scheme. His stage name is Zach Avery, and he claimed he's raising funds from investors for film licensing deals with Netflix and HBO. The problem, of course, is that Netflix and HBO said those deals never actually existed, so he was charged with wire fraud. And if convicted, he could be jailed for up to 20 years. The criminal complaint was filed by prosecutors and the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. They accuse Mr. Horowitz of using investor funds for lavish personal spending, including extravagant trips to Las Vegas, flights on chartered jets, payments for high-end cars, and the purchase of a $5.7 million mansion in Los Angeles. A senior SEC official said in a statement, "We allege that Horowitz promised extremely high returns and made them seem plausible by invoking the names of two well-known entertainment companies and then fabricating documents." As an actor, Horowitz has not had the most illustrious career in Hollywood, other than an uncredited part in a movie called Fury, which is, of course, the 2014 American war film starring Brad Pitt. Mr. Horowitz has mostly appeared in low-budget films without anything to speak of with respect to box office. A lawyer for Mr. Horowitz did not immediately respond to a request for comment from the BBC. Now, one of the things that he was pitching to people was an Italian comedy released in 2018 called Lucia's Grace. In a largely scathing review, Variety magazine critic said the film can generously be called a pleasant comic bauble, panning its script as lacking cohesion and trying too hard to be as blandly populist as possible. The tone of the review is reflected in the film's 43% critics rating on the Rotten Tomatoes website. But Mr. Horowitz made the argument to his investors that if he got the major streaming platforms behind this film, they could make money from it. So it was theoretically a potential moneymaker despite the fact it had bad reviews. So Mr. Horowitz, according to prosecutors, told investors that. So from 2015, he promised investors that his company would use their funds to buy the rights to distribute films in Latin America, Africa, and New Zealand. So the story goes, look, there's films out there. They opened and closed the box office, didn't do a whole lot, and might not have gotten attention outside of their countries. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy the rights to those films and then take it to Netflix or HBO, and I'm going to license it to them to distribute either here in America or someplace else. But the point is that they're going to distribute the film, and I'm going to be the one who hooks this up. And it's like just, easy way to make money in the film business without making films. So he told investors, allegedly, that distribution deals had been struck with Netflix and HBO. And he told his backers that these deals would get them promised returns of 35% annually. They will often tell you that the most obvious sign of a Ponzi scheme is not the structure of what you're being told you're investing in, because they never actually tell you the real structure, nor is it what you're investing in. Films, hog futures, crude oil, doesn't matter what you're investing in. It's the rate of return, because there are certain things that you can do with your money that we know about. You can put your money into, a mutual fund. You can put your money in the stock market. You can put your money in the bank. There's things you can do with your money that will possibly get you interest or earnings or whatever. And when someone comes to you and says, look, I can get you 12% on your money, guaranteed, that is as if every single ref on the field threw their flag simultaneously in a display of coordinated motion. There's no question that that's a problem, okay? So a high rate of return is an indication that there's something wrong. So when somebody promises you 35% annual return on your money, you have to go, okay, it's almost like mathematically impossible. I understand that if you got lucky and put it in the right thing at the right time, but the idea that somebody goes, no, I've got this plan, I can guarantee you 35%. No. And what's even crazier about that is, if it's such a good thing, why does he need investors? He has no money of his own? Because if he's getting 35% on his own money, just keep rolling it back in. But no one ever asks that. What happens is the person is promoting a Ponzi scheme, preys on the greediness of the investors. So they're telling themselves, this can't be right. But I'll put up $1 million just to see. In reality, the film company that Horowitz had no business relationship with either HBO or Netflix, according to prosecutors. Horowitz allegedly showed investors fabricated agreements and emails regarding the purported deals with HBO and Netflix. One investor was quoted as saying in the complaint, "I believed that if HBO was involved, my investment was safe." At some points, Mr. Horowitz was able to pay some investors using funds raised from other investors. Prosecutors say a scheme collapsed in 2019 when the company began defaulting on payments. And that's also another rookie move for a Ponzi scheme operator, because by offering 35% on your money, he's got to pay more to his original investors. If he'd promised 12% return on the money, this thing would have run longer. But at 35%, he's got to pay the original investors so much more from the later investors that it collapses sooner. The criminal complaint alleges that Mr. Horowitz deposited or transferred at least some investor funds to his personal bank accounts. At least some. Some of the payments listed in the complaint include $691,000 to a celebrity interior decorator, $165,000 for luxury cars, $137,000 for chartered jet flights, and $54,000 for a watch subscription service. $54,000 for a watch subscription service. I've never heard of that. I don't know what that is. I actually like watches. I wear one myself. I'd hold it up right now and show it to you, but I'm lazy. No, I'm just kidding. Okay? And so the idea that you sign up to a watch subscription service, does that mean that they send you a new watch each month and you wear it and you send it back? Do you keep the watches? Do you not keep the watches? If you don't get to keep the watches, $54,000 seems like a lot. But watch subscription service. At a court appearance on Tuesday, a judge set Mr. Horowitz's bond or bail at $1 million. And the question is that if he had actually raised the numbers that they said he had, $690 million, the question is, does he have $1 million of it still laying around or not? And I'm not really sure what the story is there. But the crazy thing, and I'm speaking about these schemes in general, the idea that somebody goes, I've got this money-making opportunity, and I can guarantee you this outrageous rate of return, and they have paperwork to make it look real, and you sign a thing, you give them your life savings, and you see the stories unfold, and it's almost always the same thing. That first they raise money from people they know, okay? And then they start paying back some funds. But you understand that if you gave me $1 million, and I said as in return to you 10% a year on that, at the end of the first year, I owe you 10%, and I can say, do you want 10% now or you want to roll it over? And some people go, oh, roll it over. So on a piece of paper, it says they've got $1.1 million. You go, I made 10%. Well, you're assuming I still got the 1.1, and I don't. And then what happens is these people tell other people, I got the greatest thing going. I found a guy who give me 10% of my money or 35% of my money. And so what happens is word of mouth spreads, and other people want to get involved. And then there's going to be some people in the first tranche who go, well, I made my money. I want out. And a few people will get out, and you pay them gladly. They leave. But now more people are coming in to replace these. And so what happens is, it's going to collapse eventually. But look at Bernie Madoff. And Bernie Madoff got as far as he did because he had so many people pouring money into his fund. And he had enough people who were leaving their money in that the first few people to leave, pay him. He's like, good riddance to you. And, he actually threatened to kick people out of his fund. People are like, no, Bernie, don't kick me out of your Ponzi scheme. I'm having too much fun in here. So it's a crazy story. But Zach Avery, Hollywood actor, arrested over a $690 million scheme is the headline from the BBC. and he's an aspiring Hollywood actor. Has been accused of scamming millions from film investors by tricking them with fake Netflix deals to fund a lavish lifestyle. So there you go, Donald. Thanks for sending along. Questions or comments, put them below. Let's talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Lehto's Law. Don't forget Mother's Day, or as they call it in Beverly Hills, Dad's Third Wife Day.